Saint Thomas More. Saint Thomas More lived from the 1420s to the 1530s. During this time, law and education were some of the main focuses of society. He grew up with many opportunities to pursue his education with the best schools. Throughout his life, he continuously showed his gifts and fruits of the Holy Spirit. In specific, he exhibited the gift of wisdom because he knew what was right in the perspective of God, and he used the point of view to base all his decisions of it. He also especially exemplified the gift of piety, which is seen through his constant devotion to God. He made sure that even when learning new situations and opinions, he still stayed faithful to his belief. Thomas More was born on February 7th, 1478 in London, United Kingdom. As a kid, he attended one of the most prestigious schools at the time. This school was St. Anthony's School. St. Anthony's School was located in London, England. He also worked for an archbishop named John Morton. John Morton was not only the archbishop but also chancellor of England. John believed More was a marvelous man and that his future would be bright. After his early years of education and work, Thomas More went to Oxford University. Here he learned and mastered Latin along with many other things. After 2 years at Oxford, his father, whom was an attorney at the time, brought him back to London to study law. Upon his arrival home in 1496, Thomas earned admission to Lincoln's Inn. Lincoln's Inn was a law school. Here Thomas More could prepare for his admission to the bar. Then in 1501 he was officially indicted into the profession in law. Near the same time, Thomas More began his work in law. He became close friends with a man named Erasmus. The two worked together and to write and translate many different works. At one point, Erasmus even wrote a piece entirely dedicated to More. While all this was going along, Thomas More was thinking a lot about whether he was called to participate deeply in law or in his faith. In 1503, he came back to the conclusion that he was meant to solely serve the church. He moved to a monastery and began training to be a monk. Soon after, he realized his desire to work in a legal career was over. In 1504, he returned to Parliament and married. In 1516, Thomas More published a book named Utopia. This was a fictional book which depicted a communist island, which social reason along with political are two thriving problems that were solved with reason. Utopia, which Thomas More published, covered many new topics which opened many different doors to many new things. He showed and covered topics such as punishment, controlled education, and religion. Then, in 1520, Thomas More assisted Martin Luther, whom responded to King Henry. Martin Luther published a doctrine of salvation which could be obtained through grace. This was also rejected by certain Catholic practices. Around this time, More became the Treasurer of England. Along with that, he served as Henry's intellectual courtier, secretary, and confidant. In 1523, he was elected Speaker of the House of Commons. In 1527, during the summer, King Henry attempted to use the Bible to back up his idea that marriage with Catherine of Aragon was void. More knew that he only wanted to prove his point because she was unable to give him a male child to take the throne. Therefore, he could not sign off on Henry's plan for divorce. Due to claim being in poor health, Thomas resigned from his position in the House of Commons in 1532. In reality, More was just unwilling to support Henry's divorce of Catherine that went against the laws of the church. He also opted out of attending Anne Boleyn's coronation in June 1533. 33. Henry was unhappy with More's decision. Then in early 1534, Henry accused More of being compact with Elizabeth Barton. Barton strongly opposed the king's decision to break from Rome. Soon after, in April of the same year, More refused to swear Henry's act of succession and the oath of supremacy. In other words, More refused to agree to having Henry be the head of the Church of England because he believed that it would go against the rule of the Pope. Shortly after, he was sent to the town of London and declared guilty of treason. He was beheaded on July 6, 1535. His last words, often quoted, he said, "The king's good servant, but God's first." In 1935, he was canonized as a saint, and to this day he is remembered as a Reformation martyr by the Church of England. In conclusion, St. Thomas More left the world with many valuable lessons, just sticking to what he believed, and even when tempted to sway away. In his life, he used all of the gifts of the Holy Spirit at some point. While using these gifts, he also expressed the fruits of the Holy Spirit. When he showed the gift of wisdom through his work in Parliament, he also showed the fruit of goodness because he knew what was right in the point of view of God, and he committed himself to what was right for the good of the world. He also showed the gift of piety. While showing piety, he also showed the fruit of faithfulness by staying 100% loyal to his beliefs no matter what. In the end, he gave up his life for what he believed in and taught us many valuable lessons that we can use to follow in his footsteps.